something that you could say to him could make him decide he's going to spend even more taxpayer money to make a wall, a hypothetical wall, 10 feet higher than he already envisioned it in his head, whatever height that may have been. I mean, do you not see how he's going to use any excuse he can to throw a fit, to throw a temper tantrum? And he's going to have the nuclear launch codes to throw temper tantrums with now.
Exactly, man. Yeah, that's it's a scary thought. He just, like I said, he's so authoritarian. I can't back that. And I know there's people out there, he was lambasted by Obama and everybody on the left. And I'll give the Democrats this. So the conventions, man, they're there. Each party gets a week for their place. The other party is supposed to stay quiet. I'll give the Democrats this. By and large, they stayed quiet. They let the Republicans do their thing. We were promised a show. If that's what they call a show, they really need to just fire their event planner because that sucked. There was a whole lot of, we want to do this. Well, how are you going to do it? Tell us how you plan on doing that. I mean, I guess that's one of the things I liked about Reagan. I liked about Bill Clinton. I'm not going to say they were the greatest presidents ever, but they were willing to reach across the aisle and like, yeah, I have to work with them. You can't just come in here and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And don't get me wrong, I rag on Obama a ton and sit there and, well, if you wanted this, dude, you had your first 2 years to do it. You didn't need one vote. Not one from the Republicans. But you didn't do these things. Now, I don't know if it was just for show, or I don't know if you couldn't convince your own party. Because you can sit there and say, we're trying to reach, and I know he wanted to blame Republicans a lot. And really, that's disingenuous. You can't blame them. If you couldn't convince your own party, just come out and say, hey, couldn't get enough votes. Like, whatever, we'll try again. But there's been a lot of finger pointing. But yeah, and what's up?
He was quoting statistics about the police being killed in higher rates than ever before, and crime being higher than ever before, and all these things. They're just not true. Crime is down. Crime is down. That's a fact.
Violent crime is down.
Police are safer now than they've ever been before.
Yeah, violent crime is down. As far as all crime, I mean, and maybe he was totally just skewing the facts. All crime, and I'm talking like petty theft, some kids stealing a candy bar from a freaking store or whatever. Yeah,
you could lump in illegal downloading into that.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. He could just be totally skewing the data to fit his speech there. Violent crime for sure is down. That's where I agree with Obama. I just disagree if it's down. Why are you in gun control? Yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of substance, and I guess to me, if I was in that position, man, and I'm going to take that stage, I'm not going to spend, God, what did he talk? It was like an hour and a half. I'm not going to spend, yeah, something like that. I'm not going to spend the first hour of it talking about my opponent and how bad she is. Like, that's what this election's turned into. It's not so much about, oh, you should vote for me because of this. It's just don't vote for that person. Like that. That's exactly what's going on, man. I mean, and that's all I'm hearing these days. Like, I could just take these off, I guess. I don't need them anymore. Yeah, that's what's going on.
I can hear you better when you had them on.
Oh yeah, I'm using this microphone. My apologies. Still working out the technical bugs here, guys. Don't worry, we're getting there. Yeah, so
total shit, but she's worse.
Yeah, exactly. It's like don't worry about what the left hand is doing over here. Look at the right. Look at the right. Don't worry about this. I'm over here. I don't know if y'all could see that, but yeah, it's just, it's a nightmare, dude. And that's what I got from his speech. That's what I got from most of them. It wasn't, you should vote for Trump because of this, because let's face it, the majority of Republicans did not vote for Trump in the primaries. I know that's a narrative I've heard a lot. Well, Republicans picked him. Well, he got a plurality. He did not get a majority. The majority of Republicans did not pick him, did not want him. But he got more votes than anybody. It's just the way it works. So, I say weird because As I said in the first episode, I am a registered Republican, and we're kind of stuck with him. After this election, probably not. So
I don't think he's going to get elected.
you know, I don't know. God, I'm
He's too much for too many people. Many Republicans are against him, and all the Democrats and every fucking independent. Well, not every, but you know what I mean.
right. Yeah, that's why I'm pulling for Gary Johnson. Yeah, and if somebody wants to come out and tell me I'm wasting my vote on Gary Johnson, let me explain this to you. Gary Johnson may not get elected. And it's not going to be one of those, at least I can say this. But if you elect Hillary or you elect... If you vote for Donald Trump and Hillary gets elected, don't you kind of feel like your vote was wasted? I mean, so if you're saying that I'm wasting my vote on a third party...
Jesus was wasting his life when he died for your sins.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going to tell me I'm wasting my vote on a candidate that can't get elected, then can't I retroactively look back at your candidate if they didn't get elected and go, well, you wasted your vote, you should have voted for this guy?
You wasted your life. I mean, you died for this guy, Ken, and now he's in the club, pumping on some shit every fucking weekend.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to waste my vote on Gary Johnson. I'm going to use my vote on Gary Johnson.
I mean, if enough of us do it, it'll work.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And, God, I think it was just the Libertarian Party. Put something out there. It was a great meme. It was perfect. And it was a bunch of little images from the movie Idiocracy. And it's like, why can't a third party win? Because no one will vote for them. But why? Because they can't win. But why? Because no one will vote for them. It's just going around in a circle. And it's like, come on, guys, you know, electrolytes. It's what it craves. Like, the two...
If enough of us get together, we can elect a third-party candidate. We can. We just have to do it together.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nobody likes Donald Trump, and nobody likes... Well, not nobody. I know I'm wrong. But you know what I mean.
I got you.
The majority of us do not want either of these motherfuckers in the White House. Hillary or Trump. That means that the majority of us should be voting for Gary Johnson.
Yeah, and I mean...
For any other reason than to keep the criminal and the psychopath out of the Oval Office.
Oh, yeah, for sure, dude. Psychopath, I don't know. Sociopath, absolutely. Yeah, Trump and the whole RNC, man, I just thought it was a huge letdown. They promised us a big show, and I was not entertained. Like, well, cool, you had some weird big-ass hats. Fucking, I can go outside. Yeah, I can go outside. But... But on that same token, as far as shows go, I thought the DNC was literally just as boring. I mean, it was so... no, I take that back. That's not true. I thought it was more entertaining because it was just a freak show. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. And by freak show, I'm talking about just the massive amount of pandering. I think they brought somebody...
I don't know what you did with your headphones, but it's really hard to hear you.
How about that?
That's better. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're good, man. I'm trying to figure it all out here. I got another desktop microphone I want to set up, and then a studio mic coming later on, so I don't have to mess with stuff so much. Yeah, it was a freak show only because they were trying to pander. A freak show of pandering. That's what I'm going to call it. They brought out the midget. And don't get me wrong, I chuckled, mainly because I think midgets are funny. I mean, you're a person...
An actual midget?
Yeah, they brought out an actual midget. And, I mean, let me tell you... I'll ask you, can you guess the joke that he made?
About Dr. Bullhand?
No. He said Hillary's going to look out for the little guy. Or little person, whatever he said. And no pun intended. Like, get the fuck out of here. No pun intended. Yeah, and then, you know, they brought out, I think the thing that disturbed me, a couple things disturbed me, and they go hand in hand. They happen on a ways away from each other. So they brought out the mother of Michael Brown. And they're talking about how, oh, you know, he was murdered by the police. No, the facts don't show that. The investigation doesn't show that. The facts don't show that. You know, his hands up, don't shoot. It was a lie. It doesn't show that. So they bring her out. And they bring some other mothers out. They're talking about how police are murdering black people. And they're doing that just to pander to the Black Lives Matter movement, the black community. And it's like, come on. And maybe they really believe that. If they do, then fine. But then they bring up the transgender thing. And they bring up this. They bring up bathrooms. They bring up all kinds of other things. And then finally, it was a sheriff or a sheriff's deputy, I want to say from not Milwaukee, because God knows Sheriff Clark would not be caught dead at the DNC. Um, I can't remember where she was from, but she asked for a moment of silence for respect for the fallen officers throughout the country. Not just Dallas, but all over the place. And, okay, they got quiet for about 5 seconds, and then you hear somebody scream, Black Lives Matter! And it's like, wow, dude, you're an asshole. You're a total asshole. Like, nobody's up there, they're cheering on Michael Brown's mom when she's up there saying police and murderers. This lady's just asking for a moment of silence. She didn't ask you to go put on a uniform and wear a badge. Like, there was no need for that, so. I don't know. I thought it was really childish, and Hillary's speech was, I don't know, a lot like Donald Trump's. She didn't give a whole lot of substance, and just basically said, don't vote for him because he's an asshole.
I think I passed out about 45 minutes of her speech.
Yeah.
Because I was listening so boring. And she didn't really talk about anything. Her plans for. They always do that with politicians. They have these broad strokes that they give us to describe their quote unquote plan. But it's not really a plan, it's just a vision, sort of.
Right.
Sort of vision.
Yeah, it's, like I said, tell me how you plan on doing these things you want to do. I know she brought up a number of things, and when she thanked Bernie Sanders, bringing economic and social justice to the forefront.
Did you see his face?
I thought he was going to puke.
He was hit. Like, oh, it's
I couldn't tell if he was grinding his teeth or holding the vomit in. I mean, it was, I could, or chewing on it. Who knows? Maybe, whatever. But yeah, it was, and I disagreed with Bernie Sanders on almost everything. But I did respect him until he came out and endorsed her. And I think the memes are hilarious. Whoever came out with that one says, thank you for your endorsement. I called and had your suicide postponed. That's hilarious. But to me, it's a sellout. And I think he knows he's sold out.
From the very beginning, he would never, ever, even if he didn't win the nomination, he was always going to endorse whoever the candidate was, simply to keep the country out of the hands of Trump. He always said that.
True, but his whole campaign was predicated on the idea that he's going up against the big banks. And now he just endorsed the big banks. Like, he hammered her for the transcripts through speeches to, like, Goldman Sachs and Wall Street. And then he turns around and endorses Goldman Sachs and Wall Street. Like, it's a little bit, I understand he's wanting to stay true to his word, saying, hey, I'm going to endorse whoever it is. And granted, he became a Democrat simply because he understands you had to run on one of the two major party tickets. Obviously, the Democrats fit his idea more. But, yeah, I think he let his supporters down. I was never one, so I really don't care what he did. But I think his supporters weren't married to him. They're married to the idea. And the idea that he backed somebody who was completely against that idea left a bad taste in a lot of their mouths.
I supported Bernie Sanders' idea. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote at all. But the things that he talked about, I do agree with. But I don't think that we're there yet in this country, economically or socially. I don't think we're ready for those ideas. But I do think that they're good ideas. And eventually it could work.
Okay.
Like the free college thing, I think that's a great thing. I think that should happen eventually. At some point, you got to stop spending so much money on killing, spend more money on educating.
See, I understand that, but I disagree with it. And only because, how many people are going to go to college? Say, just as a percentage. How many people?
Isn't that traditional college that we have today? We could, vocational schools, trade schools, those things could be free, There's a way to do it. I mean, we spend so much money on other shit that we don't really need it all.
Oh yeah, we do. No, I guess I just disagree. I mean, even trade schools, the vocational schools, like, how many people are going to go? Because the majority of people are low skilled workers, low skill or no skill workers, and that's not knocking anybody because they are absolutely vital to this country. But let's face it, kid at McDonald's, you can be replaced by a robot at any moment. It is a low skill or no skill job. But we're going to ask them to pay taxes. And maybe they have no ambitions of going to college ever. But we're going to ask that low skill, no skill guy to pay their taxes to pay for this guy to go to college. I just, to me, it's just a redistribution. I don't like that. I'd rather people pay their own way. Now, there are ways.
It's not just another guy. It's his kid. It's his son or his daughter. That low skilled worker is going to have a child. That child's going to want to go to college. And his paychecks aren't going to be enough to cover.
No, and I understand that too. But I guess to me, if I really wanted to do that, I would push high schools. Hey, increase your curriculum. I mean, I'm not saying you have to know what you want to do when you get out of high school, but when you get out of high school,
that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I like that.
Like, why should I have to go to college and take a full year of English classes? Why didn't I learn this my senior year in high school?
Yeah.
And I mean, looking back on my freshman college classes, like, I did learn it my senior year of high school. So why the hell do I got to do it again other than I'm justifying somebody's job? I mean, we could get rid of some of these things.
Competing theories of education that could replace our current modification, convince and reimagine the way that we teach our kids now in such a way that when they do graduate high school, they are much more knowledgeable than perhaps even a 2-year graduate of college.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing. You know, you get out of high school and say your core classes are knocked out. If you're going to do something like, you know, if you want to be a gym teacher, do you really need to know quantum mechanics? Probably not. We can go ahead and skip the college algebra. You probably don't need to know that one. So there's no reason to take that class. If you're going to go into science, okay, I want you to take that. Maybe you don't need to take this American history class. It's irrelevant to the field you're going into. I mean, you obviously
get the classes in such a way that it only teaches you what you really, really need.
Right. And I understand the purpose of education. They want well-rounded students coming out of it. I get all that. I was like, but we can do that. We can shape them when they're young. So that way when they're 19, 20, 21 years old, when they are ready to go to college, however old they may be, I know what I want to do with life. I've already had these classes. I've experienced them. This is what I'm leaning towards. So let them focus on that when they're in college. Let them get a better education so that we're not, 57th in math? So that we're not 57th in math. Maybe now all of a sudden we start moving it up because we've challenged our children. And I had a conversation with my aunt not long ago, and she's like, "No, the kids, they don't want." It's like, what, you're going to blame the kids? No, I'm going to blame the freaking national education, the education board, the national. Why can't I think of the damn acronym? Wow, brain fart. Anyways, I mean, they're sitting there mandating that Common Core, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. In Colorado, they mandate, I think it's like some stupid number of teaching hours that teachers have to have with their students. We had a couple snow days this year. We had to make it up. Man, when I was growing up, we were allotted 8 snow days a year. They had 2 this year, and they had to make it up by going. It's like, what could you have taught them in those 2 days that was so damn important that you're going to make it up with? And this is how they made it up. They went to school 10 minutes earlier for the rest of the year. And I was like, to satisfy some stupid mundane law about FaceTime with the teacher. Like, what are those 10 minutes?
Laws that aren't written by educators. They're not written by teachers at all.
No.
These are politicians peddling their bullshit and forcing it down the throats of teachers. And teachers don't fucking want it. They don't want Common Core. Not at all.
No, I said let that shit, let the schools, let the states do that. Somebody show me in the Constitution where it says education is the responsibility of the federal government. I guess that's my biggest thing. Leave it to the 10th Amendment. It's not specifically mentioned in the Constitution. Then it falls to the states. Let each state do their thing. We're supposed to be these pools of people, and little petri dishes. Well, we're all going to do something different. Maybe something works, and maybe this guy over here, maybe Missouri over here sucks ass, but they see that Montana's doing something kick ass. Hey, okay, cool, we'll try that. Like that's what it's supposed to be about. That's what this country was founded on. That idea that we can do these things, but I think we've granted entirely too much government power to the federal government with the education board, and all kinds of other things. So I digress.
And also, I just want to say, like, for-profit college. Let's do that some other time.
Yeah.
Hold on subject.
So back to the DNC. We were talking about Bernie.
The DNC, right?
But that was a fun little discussion. So yeah, we'll totally have to do economics on a later show. Yeah, with Hilary's speech, she said something in it pretty early on. It kind of, I don't know, was cause for concern, but I did have to laugh a little bit, talking about the most enduring values of America: freedom, equality. That's actually the one I kind of have the problem with. Justice and opportunity. And it's not that I don't want people to be equal to each other. Obviously, you're my equal. My wife is my equal. My parents, we're all equal. We should be equal under the eyes of the law. But I think the problem I have with her saying equality is that's not what she means. They want economic equality. That's why I mentioned the Bernie when she praised him for bringing social and economic justice to the forefront. They want economic equality. They want social equality. I'm sorry, we're really not all equal. If you really want equality, somebody please, and you're screaming that, like the social justice warriors, oh, my life's not fair, the third wave feminists, the freaking, whoever, man, sitting there trying to shout down free speech. They're screaming that their life's not fair. I want them to go to any special needs child in America. Find a kid with Down syndrome, look them dead in the eye, and I want them to explain to that Down syndrome child how their life isn't fair. Because they were born with the exact same opportunities, the exact same abilities as you or I. We've made our choices. Don't get me wrong, I know upbringing has a lot to do with it. And God, I can't believe I'm going to quote Dr. Phil. You're not responsible for what happened to you as a child. You are 100% responsible for what happens to you as an adult. If your life isn't fair, make a change.
The equality that we need to strive for is the equality of opportunity.
Yes.
But once you have your opportunities and then you start making your decisions, some of those opportunities are going to go away. The very first time that you shoplift, you've pretty much written off any possibility of ever getting on a space shuttle. This is how it is. You can't expect that your decisions, your choices that you decide to make as an adult won't have an effect on you. If you've never broken the law as an adult, then you've got all the opportunity in the world to do whatever you want. Go back to school, learn a new trade. There's money out there for you already.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm all for equality of opportunity. Absolutely. I think, and I realize some people are born into better situations than others. We weren't all fortunate in life to get a small loan of $1 million from our fathers. Just a very, very small loan.
Small loan.
Very small.
Nothing.
I mean, I realize.
Give me a fucking $1 million.
Yeah, right.
I do that.
My house is paid off. Okay, I'm done. I'm good the rest of my life. But yeah, dude, we're not all born with a silver spoon. I get that, you're disingenuous if you think that as soon as you're born you have the same opportunities. No, you don't. But as you go through life, the choices you make, I think that's the biggest thing. That's why the millennials do. And people talk about them, how they're tantrum throwers and they're just stomping their feet. I want, I deserve. I'm entitled to this, the entitlement generation. They've never been taught that their decisions have consequences. And I think that's what you're talking about. People learn, as soon as you make a choice, some opportunities just went out the window for you. And I think parents need to, at an early age, need to start talking about teaching their kids, like, you make this choice, that's fine, you can make that choice, but this and this is going to happen. And they got to let them know there are consequences.
But this is the participation trophy generation.
Oh, yeah. Orange slices for everyone, man. Yeah, it's... Well, yeah, it makes me laugh, dude. The college debt thing, don't get me wrong, man, I get it. College is extremely expensive. But you signed on the dotted line. What's that?
You're going to go to college, you're going to take money, then get a degree that's going to make you to pay it back.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to go be a liberal arts major, like, I'm sorry, there's not a whole lot in that for you. I mean, I'm studying arts. Well, what do you mean you're studying art? What's that?
You're going to elementary school. You're going to end up an elementary school art teacher making $20,000 a year, and you're fucked. I mean,
yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong.
But these degrees that are worthless, they shouldn't cost as much as a degree that is worth something.
Exactly. If you know this degree is not going to lead you to just prosperity and you want to be an art teacher, and don't get me wrong, dude, some of my fondest memories of elementary school were my art teacher, Mr. Rucker. If he's still out there somewhere, I remember you, dude. You were the coolest. But, yeah, dude, I love Mr. Rucker, man. But yeah, I know they don't make much money, but that's the thing. And I know, don't get me wrong, some of them, I came out with $250,000 in debt. Well, you also had to teach for 3 years, and I believe most of your school districts have a deal with the federal government, and either they pay some of it off or it's forgiven immediately because you are working in this certain situation. And I'm not trying to knock on teachers there. I know there's some misleading things out there about what they're paid and this and that and the other. I know they're not paid shit. I get that, but there's other things involved.
But I'm just saying that the degree that you're going to get, the cost of that degree should be tied to your earning potential.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, and people need to know, if you're going to sign on the dotted line. What's that?
What do you think is stopping that from happening? Why isn't it already like
that? I have a couple of theories. I mean, some people, are probably going to cry, well, that's not fair, because you might have the guy that wants to go into nuclear physics or whatever, and yeah, he's probably going to come out and make a pretty good chunk of change. I'm not saying he's going to be a millionaire or billionaire, but he's going to come out and he's going to probably be all right. He'll probably have a pretty cushy job in a lab somewhere. Cushy's not the right word, but he'll be paid. But he'd be like, well, shit, my degree cost me $300,000, where this dude, he's got a degree too, and it only cost him $30,000. So some people, well, that's not fair. You can't do that. Yes, you can. Well, why is that not fair? That's totally fair. It's not fair to say, okay, you're all going to pay $300,000 for your degrees, but you, scientist, now you got to pony up the dough because this guy's never going to be able to pay for it. So that's not fair.
No, it's not fair.
So,
but you have a kid, right? So you know how when kids say that's not fair, and they have no concept of justice yet.
Yeah,
it's so funny because that's the generation that we're raising now.
Oh yeah,
it's just no concept of justice and fairness at all. They think that fair means we all get the same shit.
Yeah, and that's what. And I guess that's the problem, going back to Hilary's quote here, which says the most, let me read the entire quote, so just to give it some context. Because she's knocking on Donald Trump for talking about it. He can do this, and he's the only one that can do this, and that's what he's saying. So then she said, but just look for a minute at the strengths we bring as Americans to meet these challenges. We have the most dynamic and diverse people in the world. Okay, true. We have the most tolerant and generous young people we have ever had. I completely disagree with tolerant. Or, we have the most powerful military. Okay. The most innovative entrepreneurs, the most enduring values, freedom and equality, justice and opportunity. We don't have the equality that she's talking about. Like she wants economic equality, social equality. Like I said, it ties in with her praising Bernie Sanders for bringing those things to the forefront. Do we certainly have issues with those things? Absolutely. There's definitely a gap between the rich and the poor. There's a huge gap. But I guess I look at it this way. So if something happens and the gap widens and the rich guys' quality of life improves 2,000% and the poor guys' quality of life improved 100%. Yes, the gap got wider, but everybody's quality of life improved. So focusing on the gap is the wrong thing to focus on. Have we improved as a society or not? I guess that's the bigger question.
Yeah. The standard is the lowest among us. How are they living?
Yeah, and
we're about raising that.
Yeah, and if you compare the lowest among us to, you can't say the top, I'm not going to say the top 5% in any country, but the 10 to, in between the 10 and 5% in any other country in the world, compare them to the lowest living here in the United States. I think you're going to find a pretty good comparison. They're doing okay. And I mean, I'm not. No, go ahead, man.
I was just going to say that we just focus on, raising that minimum standard to an idea that we come up with. What does it look like to have a beautiful society? Well, if our society is beautiful, then the very poorest among us are living like this, this, and this. They have this, and they can do this.
Right.
And that. Worry about that. We'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and we have that. And I know some people want to call the Republicans and conservatives the boogeyman. Oh, they want to cut welfare. Look, nobody said do away with it. They would like to change some things, absolutely. They want to make it so that it can remain and it can continue to thrive.
Things need to change.
Yeah,
anybody on welfare will tell you that they need to change, because if you're on welfare, you're stuck. You're put into a place where if you try to improve your life in any kind of way, they snatch everything that you're getting away from you, and then you have to start all over again.
Yeah, you don't want to make $1 more than what it says you can make, because all of a sudden it's cut off, and then where are you at? You're worse off than you were before.
My ex-wife was making $8 an hour. She started getting paid $8.25, and they cut everything. Oh, so now $8.25 is enough to take care of all my expenses. No, you need to come up with a plan that helps them wean off it.
Exactly.
Forces them to wean off it.
Exactly. You want to encourage growth, for sure. You want to encourage people to go make that next dollar, because they don't have to be scared now. Like, okay, cool, you're going to make, so you made you got $1 an hour raise. That's awesome. You're going to make this much more a year. We're not taking all this away from you. We're going to drop it down a little bit until you can sufficiently support yourself at this level. We're going to keep doing this number till you get there. Like, I'm okay with that, but you got to incentivize people. Like, you can't just mandate it that it happens, because otherwise you get people entirely too comfortable on the system. And I do think some people have become too comfortable on the system, entirely too dependent upon it. Comfortable is probably not the right word, but they've definitely become dependent upon the system, and you don't want them dependent upon the system. The more dependent upon it people become, the more freedoms they're willing to trade away to keep that comfort level. So,
exactly.
But so let's talk about the media reaction to the conventions. Did you catch any of that and how it was received? So I guess my takeaway from it was just, I discussed it a little bit earlier with ABC News being in the tank for Obama with the mission accomplished sign and all that. It really seemed that way again. There wasn't a whole lot of positive feedback to the RNC, and I'm not going to blame them for that, but it really should have been evenly distributed. As far as, I didn't see any real positives coming out of the DNC either, and it just seemed like there was nothing but, oh, but look at this, and she made history. No, she didn't. Victoria Woodhull made history. She was the first woman to run for president, but they want to slap that down because Hilary Clinton's running as a Democrat. It doesn't matter whether Victoria Woodhull had a chance or not. She did it. She broke the glass ceiling. Let's not squash her accomplishments by putting this bitch up on a pedestal. So, yeah, I mean,
I never heard of her.
yeah, she was
Victoria what?
Victoria Woodhull. There was her and God, I can't remember the other. There's 4 other women at least that came after. I want to say there was actually 11 before Hillary Clinton. Uh, yeah, there was no glass ceiling for her to break. So, and that's the thing, I mean, maybe, like I said, maybe she's the first woman to have a chance. Sure, but don't sit there and say, "Well, we made history." No, you didn't. You haven't made history yet. You're just another of the other women that have already ran. You're just another one. Sorry, they've done it before you. Now, if you win, you've made history. But if you don't win, you've just followed in their footsteps. I'm not trying to belittle the achievement, so. All right, so let's take a break from the conversation for just a quick second here. I want to give a big shout out. They're not our sponsor. I've reached out to them. I just want to put it out there. I know it's an issue that's dear to me. It's dear to Kaz. It's an organization called 22untilnone.org. The statistics are out there. It's an average of 22 veteran suicides every day. These guys are doing their part to get people organized, get people information, trying to bring that number from 22 to 0. Just giving them a shout. Check them out. They do good stuff. They got some events coming up, some in San Antonio. They got another event coming up in Colorado Springs. They're going to do a ruck march. Just check them out. It's the number 22untilnone.org. So, oh, yeah, that was a nice
little. We should talk about veteran suicide at some point, if not tonight.
Yeah, for sure. We could do a show on that. Absolutely. So,
I know I have been going through some shit right now that has definitely it's crossed my mind lately.
Well, yeah, just to put it out there, man, you got the resources, and you know where you can go. You always got family. You always got people you can talk to. So,
yeah, I know. I know other you guys. I know specifically a few of you guys right now that are going through shit similar to what I'm going through with relationships, wives, and families, and whatnot, and how hopeless it can seem. And I'm going through it right now myself, and I'm not even going to pretend like I know how to go through it all the way without being unscathed, but I just want everybody to know that we're here. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you know me or Uzi personally. You can reach out to us anytime. We have all been through hell and back. I mean, we're still here. The Hajis didn't kill us. Let's not let whatever the fuck we're going through kill us now.
For sure. And also, if you're listening to this, you don't have to wait for somebody to speak up. Go ahead and reach out to your buddies. Check in on them. Like, you don't have to know if they're going through a problem or not. Just check in on them. Call them. See how they're doing. That phone call may save a life. And, if they stay alive until they're 90, you'll never know if it saved their life or not. But that's the point, is you never want to know. Maybe they come out and tell you, maybe they don't. But you never want to know if your phone call could have changed something. So just make the phone call and talk to your buddies and make sure they're doing good. We all saw some shit. So speaking of reaching out and speaking up, the First Amendment. Oh, and we had a viewer comment. Thanks, Robert, for letting me know you could only hear me talking for probably, I think it was like the first half hour, which is why I changed some. Yeah, I changed some settings. When you started hearing yourself, I think everybody could start hearing you too. So like I said, we're not we're not technical wizards. Bear with us if you're watching this live. This is our first live stream, so the First Amendment. What do you make of it? Where does it stop, I should say?
This is close to the Tomahawk podcast Facebook page, right?
It's on the webpage at tomahawkpodcast.com.
Okay. Oh, look. Wow, I can see us live. That's crazy. That's really cool. Okay, so the First Amendment.
Yeah, just what's your take on it overall?
Overall, I mean, I believe I'm a constitutionalist. I don't really think that there's much that you should or could change that would make it any better. As far as like the freedom of religion goes, I mean, it's difficult because I believe in the freedom of religion, but I also don't think that people's religious beliefs should have any bearing on policy, on the law.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Ooh.
So, for anybody watching, if you check out our website at tomatalkpodcast.com, I put something up. I wrote it on the First Amendment, my take on it, and actually addressing the point that Kaz just brought up. And it's my take on it. You agree with it, disagree with it, join the conversation for sure. I guess I look at it like this: when they came up with freedom of religion, it was basically telling us that our government will not establish a national religion, that our government will secular. As an entity, as a whole, the government will remain secular. We will not bow down to any church. But they also gave the individual rights, knowing that people, their religions and their views and their beliefs would have an impact on how they vote on policies and stuff. And I think if you can't really remove the two.
I'd like to.
No, yeah, and I totally get that. I know some people would really like people to do that, but as soon as you do that and you tell people that their religion cannot have a bearing on that, then you actually have violated the Constitution, where it says there is no religious means test. So essentially you're saying that you can't use the religion you believe in, you have to use no religion at all, which is actually a religious means test. So and I hear you, man. I get it. I know some people really, there's the people out there that want abortion, and they're pissed off at the Christian right because, they're anti-abortion, they're anti-women's rights. And rights is another thing we can definitely get into, and what constitutes an actual right. But, yeah, I mean, they're just a Christian fundamentalist. Yeah, you know what? But that's what they believe. And you believe what you believe. And if you ever get into office, they're going to start knocking on you. And then what are you going to do? You're going to be pissed off at them for knocking on you. So it's just going to be a big back and forth. I mean, is there a middle?
There's plenty of states right now where I'm not even allowed to run for office because there's laws in the book that prevent me from running for office because I'm an atheist.
Because of what?
Because I'm an atheist.
Ah, really?
Yeah, there are laws that they bar anybody without religious beliefs from running for certain offices in certain states. There's a list. I don't have it in my head.
No, that's fine. Yeah, if you can get that up, man, put that up. That would be incredible because I think they're totally wrong for doing that. Yes, I mean, well, maybe not. I guess I'm going to have to reread the Constitution again, but it may not, that portion may not cover the states, and it may only cover federal service.
I mean, these are part of state constitutions that have never been challenged in Supreme Court yet.
Right.
Okay, so there's 7 states, evidently. I'm pulling up the list right now. I'll let you find it. In North Carolina, the state constitution reads, the following person shall be disqualified for office. First, any person who shall deny the existence of God.
Ooh,
That's
wow.
North Carolina. Pennsylvania, the Constitution states that no one can be disqualified from serving in office on the basis of religion, but with the caveat that office holders should believe in God. So there's 2.
Okay.
Maryland. Fuck you, Maryland. Fuck you, This doesn't have like a list. It just talks about these certain constitutions, so it doesn't have the rest of the states in here.
No, that's fine.
But
yeah.
We have 3.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and I don't support that. I think that's dumb. I think it's really dumb. Any religious means test is dumb. And I guess I'd have to reread the U.S. Constitution to see if it only applies to federal service or if they're applying it to the states as well. I don't recall them applying it to the states, and they may get away with that under the 10th Amendment, but I don't see it happening. If somebody actually challenged them, I could see them winning it in the Supreme Court and those things being overturned.
Hopefully.
Yeah, God, I mean, God, dude, that's weird. I guess I never put any thought into that. See, the things you take for granted.
So I'm part of an oppressed class, you see.
Yeah. Oh, man, you are. Shit.
I'm oppressed.
No wonder the atheists get so pissed off, dude. It makes sense now. I'd be pissed off too. Um,
I
yeah.
mean, what if my beliefs included child rape? What if that was part of my religious beliefs? I mean, should the state allow that
See,
because we have freedom of religion?
I am so glad you brought that up, dude. Because I wanted to touch on Islam a little bit and the actual teachings of Islam. You know, sex slaves
Or
and God, child brides, and it's okay to have sex with a 9-year-old kid as long as she's willing and able, and they don't jive with our laws in our country. Now, and I'm not. What's up?
the Bible as much as people like to pretend that it's
Oh yeah,
even in the Bible, rape was permissible.
it was.
But, I think it was, I can't remember exactly, but there's in the law of Moses, it allows for, if you rape a woman, you have to pay her father 50 shekels,
Yes.
and then you have to marry her, and you can never divorce her. But
Yeah.
it never says, don't rape her.
Yeah. So that's your penance for rape, and
But shekels is still a currency in use to this day. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Did you know how much 50 shekels is worth in the U.S. currency right now?
That I do not know.
$12.72.
That's it? Oh.
That's it.
Well, hell, where's this currency being used at, and why aren't we there? No, I'm totally joking. Anyways, yeah. Well, there is no line for comedy,
You
okay?
can spend more money on one value meal at a certain fast food restaurant.
Right? Yeah, but I wanted to caveat my statement with, you have, I honestly think the majority of Muslims are an awful lot like the majority of Christians, are an awful lot like the majority of Jews, where you identify, yeah, I'm a Christian, but you don't really practice.
I don't think that's true of the Muslim community.
No, but I mean to the fullest extent. Like, even in Catholicism, you got your C&E Catholics. I mean, I was raised Catholic. Now I'm definitely a C&E Catholic, Christmas and Easter. So, I mean, and you think the majority of Muslims follow it to a T, or?
I mean, I believe that they try to the best of their ability. The only example that I can think of for Americans in Christianity would be the Westboro Baptist Church.
Mhm.
Because they follow certain, they cherry pick.
Yes.
Let's just get that.
Yeah.
Everybody cherry picks in Christianity. But I don't think that the Muslim community is so welcoming to the cherry picking practice.
Okay.
And it doesn't really make sense to cherry pick. If you have a book in your hand that you believe is truly inspired by God, the creator of everything, including you, who controls whether you spend eternity burning in hell or lavishing in luxury in heaven, if you truly believe that this book was written by that guy or inspired by that guy in any way, you'd have to be a fucking crackhead not to take every single word of it literally.
Yeah. I mean, no, I hear you, man. Otherwise, you're not really a believer. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry on that one. No, I'm with you.
When
And
people say that the New Testament absolves them of the laws of the Old Testament, that's not true. In Matthew chapter 5, I can't remember the exact verse, but it's Jesus, and in his own mouth, says that I did not come to abolish the old law. I came to fulfill it. Not a word of the old law shall pass until all has been fulfilled. That
right.
means the entire prophecy, including the end of the world. That's exactly what he said. It's very, very close to exactly what he said.
I'll take your word for it.
So that
Well, see, and that's the thing is, well, even with the Muslims. So when you talk about moderate Muslims, and they're always like, no, that's the religion of peace. Well, no, it's not, because you're referring to abrogation in the Christian world, and they're saying the New Testament absolves the Old Testament. Well, the Muslims do the same thing, and they actually believe in it. What Muhammad taught later in the Quran has to supersede whatever he taught earlier in the Quran. Especially, I mean, if it's two opposite ends of the argument, whatever came last has to supersede the first, because obviously he evolved to have that thought or whatever. And the Quran, absolutely, it's super peaceful to begin with, unless you look at what it has to say about women. That's a totally different story. But as the Quran goes on, Muhammad gets increasingly angry, increasingly violent. It no longer becomes the religion of peace. It becomes the religion of violence. And let's face it, every religion out there has spread through violence. Every single one of them. With the exception of the Buddhists, but they wouldn't say it's a religion. They'd say it's more of a philosophy. But by and large, religions have spread through violence. Very rarely has it spread through just the idea itself. All that being said, I do support the freedom of religion. Even the flying spaghetti monsters out there who want to wear colanders on their head. You know, go for it, sure. Whatever, just as long as your religion can jive with our nation's laws and the state's laws, as long as all that's copacetic, I have no issues with it. What about the freedom of speech?
Oh, shit. That's what's wrong. My computer's about to die, and it's because this socket was tripped.
Oh, no bueno.
So I think it's all good. Okay. The freedom of speech. Is that what you just said?
Yep.
Anybody should be able to say anything they want, anytime they want, no matter what.
Okay, does it extend to freedom of expression? Or should it just be limited to speech?
No, it should be freedom of expression. As long as it doesn't harm anybody physically.
Okay.
That's usually yeah.
I say that because, I mean, you got the people out there talking about flag burning.
I mean, look at the guy that, what is that called? Damn it. Oh, I just had it in my head too. Where the guys sat in the road and set themselves on fire.
Oh, in,
Yeah.
not Tiananmen Square. You're talking about in Vietnam.
Yeah, Vietnam.
The Buddhist monks.
I mean, these guys set themselves on fire for freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Burning a flag's not that big of a deal.
Okay. No, I can see your point on that. I mean, do I like it when I see people burning the American flag? No. I don't.
That's the point. You're supposed to see it. It's supposed to create an emotional response in you and make you think about something. Maybe you want to stop the guy doing the flag burning, but it's very possible that what he's doing is trying to show you something. I mean, I don't want to burn a flag, and I don't advocate it on any kind of scale. But if you feel like what the American flag represents, our Constitution, or any other facet of our society, is being burned, metaphorically speaking, you might burn a flag to show people that. You're burning our flag. If somebody else is burning the flag metaphorically, and you burn it literally to showcase that, that's a valid reason to do it, don't you think?
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we always talk about how the left is eroding our rights, destroying the Constitution. They're burning the flag, metaphorically, already.
Right. No, I see. I can make the connection there. Absolutely. What about hate speech? I'm laughing because it's hard to say that with a straight face.
Freedom of speech. I mean, you've got to be able to say whatever you want to say. If
Right.
you want to be a racist piece of shit, the consequences are people are going to look at you and think, oh, that's a racist piece of shit. I don't be around that motherfucker. I want to do business with that motherfucker. And that should be the consequence.
So social ostracizing. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
I like abortion, right? I am not, and this is an emotional, non-logical necessarily position, but I don't feel like people should just go get abortions whenever the fuck they feel
Right.
especially in this day and age when we have contraception methods galore. You know, there's all kinds of ways, and we teach it to our kids in fucking elementary school. It's not like you don't know about it, right?
But for you to just be getting abortions all willy-nilly, something's wrong, right? But do I think that we should legislate and
For prosecute women who get abortions? No, not at all. It should just be a social stigma that should remain just to deter the people who want to abuse them.
Okay. No, I hear you there. I guess hate speech to me is just funny. I mean, you have you people, oh, your freedom of speech ends where hate speech begins. I think Leslie Jones said that to Milo right before he got banned. I don't know if she said it right to Milo, but made the comment right before or right after he got banned from Twitter.
Yeah.
And the hilarious thing about that is, no, unless he, I think the freedom of speech only actually ends when it's a call to action. You can't yell fire in a theater. It's a call to action. You're yelling fire in a theater, knowing full well people will run and somebody will end up being injured over that. People are not going to exit in an orderly manner like they're directed to. They're going to run. The same thing if you're out there screaming, let's kill these people, let's do this. I guess to me, that's a real bad example because that even depends on the context. But if you're actually calling on people to commit violence and people to harm other people, yeah, your freedom of speech no longer applies. Like, you can't do that. You're not protected anymore. But if you're just out there and you're saying, I disagree with this guy or the KKK holding their rallies and you're protesting them and whatever, like, let them hold the rally. Let them be where you could see them. Like, as long as nobody is actually getting hurt. As soon as they do a call to action, and it's a violent call to action, hey, that protection's gone. So.
I was a member of an atheist Facebook group up until yesterday. And I got into a debate with a fellow atheist, mind you, about this person. And actually, this group is more geared towards flirting with each other, right? This guy posted these feminist posts, and it is my opinion, I can't prove it, obviously, that he's what we call a white knight. He's somebody who purports or exaggerates his concern with feminism in order to get attention from females, right? Which is something that if you are an alpha, you don't have to do.
A lot of betas out there, man.
So
a lot of betas.
Yeah. I'm an egalitarian. I believe that equality of opportunity for all. That's what I believe in, and that's what I strive for. Feminism, just in the name, it's exclusionary. It's to promote the rights of women, right? If we focus on only the rights all the time, I mean, it's been since 1848 that the feminist movement started. That's 162 years. If we're 62 years focusing on one issue at a time, we're going to be doing this shit for the next couple thousand years. Why would you not adopt a more all-encompassing philosophy? It's just logical.
Right.
So that was my point. That was my whole point. I'm not a male supremacist. I don't believe that women should bow down to men. Nothing like that, And if you want to be technical, I guess you could call me a feminist because I believe in the equality of rights for women, right? And I even said that in this argument. But he got so butthurt. And he happened to be an admin. I didn't know that. And he banned me from the group. Now, I know that Facebook is a privately owned company, and then there's a private group inside of the company, right? But the whole reason why atheists even exist is because of freedom of speech. If the Christians wanted to, and freedom of speech didn't exist, they could come and round us all up and kill us right now.
Yeah, see,
we should be.
That's a good point, man. When they talk about the social justice warriors, man, they don't believe in free speech. They're the ones literally chanting, free speech, not hate speech. I saw it a lot, not so much from the Bernie supporters, but the Trump protesters. They're out there screaming free speech, not hate speech, with their little signs and everything. And it's like, But what's your response to that? Like, if he's going to go up there and say some stupid, hateful shit, your response is to shut them down? People want to go to college. Ben Shapiro just got banned from speaking at DePaul University. Now, I need to look into DePaul. I don't know if they're public or private. I think they're a public university. But whatever happened to just... If they're a public university, I have a severe issue with them banning. If they're private, whatever, do what you want. It just makes you stupid. But what the hell ever happened to, oh, this guy's up here... What's that?
You gotta take some kind of public money.
Yeah, and if you're taking public money, tough shit. You don't get to violate any of the Constitution. You just got to let it happen. But whatever happened to just saying, man, this guy's up here saying something I don't like. I think I'll walk away. What the hell ever happened to that? But no, it's too many people are trying to shut people down. Don't shut them down. Encourage them to speak. Let them get their words out there. I think a lot of it also has to do, especially with social justice warriors, they don't want to be challenged. They believe what they believe. Some professor in one of their classes 2 periods ago told them what to believe, and they believe it. And if you challenge them on that, oh hell no, they gotta shut you down. Like, they're gonna protest, and we're gonna get stuff. I think Milo's been banned from a few universities as well, so.
But they fail to realize that when you exercise any sort of power to shut somebody else up, eventually that power can and will be used against you.
Exactly. Exactly. And the freedom of speech, man, the awesome thing, it is uniquely American. It's here. This is it. This is the only place in the world you're going to find it. You don't have it anywhere else. So, I mean, enjoy it while you got it and quit trying to vote it away. Please quit trying to vote it away. So, that, I guess that kind of brings me into the freedom to peaceably assemble. So you have these people, you know, and if you want to protest, that's fine. But the protest turns violent. Like, you cannot interfere in a way that could cause harm to others with your protest. I believe that's the intent of the amendment. Like, you shouldn't be, and granted, you know, the founders couldn't imagine these highways and byways that we've got spanning the country. They didn't imagine it. They had 13 colonies, and it took them 3 weeks to travel from place to place by horse and buggy. But I'm sure they'd be pretty pissed off if there was a group of protesters out there impeding their progress getting from place to place with that horse and buggy. Like,
these highways are used by ambulances, man.
yeah, exactly.
People are dying. They're giving birth to babies, or whatever the fuck is going on. You can't do that. You're
Yeah.
a piece of shit if you did fucking on a highway and stop traffic. Fuck. Like, have you never been stuck in traffic before?
Yeah, I mean, and there's other ways to draw attention to yourself. You don't need to piss I mean, I'm sorry, I guess I think it's counterproductive to stop traffic. All you're going to do is make everybody pissed off at you. I mean, find a park, find a nice public space. You know, it doesn't have to be out of the way. It can be in view. But find a nice public space to have your assembly and get your message out there. Get up on your podium. Get up on your bullhorn there. Start speaking your piece. Don't, or even the ones that barricade like buildings and stuff to try to keep people from going in. To me, that's illegal. Like, I think if you're barricading a building and you got this protest saying, oh, we're not letting people in here. Well, there's already people in there. And if there's a fire in there and you're blocking the goddamn doors, now they can't get out. Sure, you can move, but they shouldn't have to wait. They shouldn't have to wait for your ass to move. They should just be able to leave freely. So, yeah, I think the protesters and the other assemblies, like I said, as long as it's peaceful, do it in a park, say whatever the hell you want. I don't care. But do it the right way. Please do it the right way.
If your ideas are valid, if you truly believe that your ideas are valid, then why are you even afraid to let them stand on their own? That's what I have to say to anybody. Any of these social justice warriors, these people who want to talk about hate speech and all this other crap. If you're right, then why isn't it self-evident?
Yeah, agreed, man. It should
You ask yourself that. Seriously.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I encourage people to do. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends don't really want to get into political debates with me, and it doesn't have to be a debate, but just talking about it. because I'll ask them questions. I will challenge their beliefs. Now, the funny thing is, so with me and my beliefs, they've always been challenged. Always. When I was in college, my beliefs were always challenged, and I always had to justify them to somebody else. I didn't have to. I chose to. It didn't bother me to do it. But what I noticed was, like, the uber left, not just, your everyday liberal, like, hey, maybe I identify as a Democrat, whatever. Not just your regular Joe Schmo, but the uber left people, the SJWs. They've never had to challenge their viewpoint, ever. Not once. And I think that's a lot of the reason why they want to shut so much down. Because all of a sudden you're challenging them, and they don't know how to react. I mean, they turn on any TV channel, and it agrees with their narrative. They turn on, they go to any college professor, and more than likely, they agree with their narrative. So, yeah, I mean, you got to challenge yourselves, people. I mean, I challenge myself on a daily basis. I don't mind listening to left-wing radio. Not that there's a ton of it, but I don't mind listening to it and listening to their thoughts and hearing their ideas and comparing them to mine and going, is there a place we could find a middle ground? Or am I rock solid on this belief? I don't mind challenging myself. I think this country would be far better off if more people did.
Yeah, even maybe put that curriculum extra fucking debate club should be mandatory or something. I don't know. People need to learn how to argue.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how many... Imagine if every single fight you had in your adulthood was a logic option debate.
I lost you on audio, man.
Imagine that.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
You hear me now?
Yep, I got you.
Okay. I was saying, imagine if when people fought with their spouses, argued with their spouses, it was committed logical format. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like a debate, like a structured debate in an element in the university. How many divorces would be avoided completely?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it's just... And that's the thing, people hear the word argue or debate, and they think of this shouting match, and it doesn't have to be. I mean, if you can just sit there and calmly, rationally lay out your thoughts, compare them to one another. You can always find middle ground somewhere. I don't care who you are. You can always find, even if it's on a non-related topic, find your middle ground, and you can always work out from there. It's so amazing to see people not willing to engage in any kind of discourse. They want to be heard. They don't want you to be heard. And they'll drown you out. I mean, I see the people on the Facey space. They're like, ooh, if you're going to do this, then delete me now. Like, well, just delete yourself then. Like, well, why? Who cares?
I have this, it's not really, I wouldn't call it a theory, but it's the way that I look at information. I draw a distinction between truth and facts. Facts are correct, regardless of if anybody recognizes them. Mm-hmm. If no human being on this planet, if no living species recognized it, it would still be true. 2 plus 2. Even if we never knew about mathematics, 2 plus 2 would still be 4. Mm-hmm. It's a fact, right? Whereas a truth is something that it's the best we have right now, like string theory or any other scientific theory or religion, it's the best information we have. When the people who were taught about God back in the day, they weren't lying to them. They were telling them the truth because it was the best that they had right then. That's the best information they could come up with. Later on, we got more information. Turns out the Earth does not the center of the universe. Okay, so now the truth has changed, but the facts were always there.
Right.
And I think that you can apply that to this in the sense that people just want to be right, but not correct.
Yes.
They don't care about being correct. They just want to be right.
Yes.
When everybody says, "Oh, that's right,"
they want to be agreed with.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a distinction there that needs to be drawn, and people need to learn the difference between what is fact and what is truth, what is right and what is correct.
Right. Oh no,
Not
absolutely, man.
necessarily politically correct.
Sorry, correct. um, yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I think slowly but surely we're eroding the rights we've been afforded. And like I said, I touched on earlier how we'll have to get into what actually constitutes a right. In the Constitution, it says this is your Bill of Rights, but they also put in a way to change it. If there is a way to change it, it's not a right. A right is guaranteed, can't be taken away from you. Obviously, if it can be changed, it can be taken away from you. But this is a bill of stuff you can't be persecuted for. How about that? That can always change. I think we're slowly letting those slip away. What we can and can't be persecuted for. I don't think it's too far off before hate speech is prosecuted. I don't think it's too far off before.
It's been done already?
No. Although actually, in a roundabout way, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in the courts, in a legal sense, like somebody, and I don't mean like libel or slander or any of that. I mean like somebody just coming up and going, "Well, I don't like black people," and somebody screaming, "That's hate speech!" So the cops come in and take that guy away. I don't think we're too far out from that at the current direction we're headed with this stuff. I don't know. It blows my mind how willing people are to go along with this. Yeah.
Okay, so check this out. U.S. Attorney Loretta Lynch, U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch, pledged that the Department of Justice will go after hate speech that might incite violence against the Muslim community. She told a crowd of Muslim Americans who supported Thursday night.
That's right. Yes, absolutely.
This was published on ABC News, December 4th, 2015.
Now, I want to see it in the context, and like I said, you just read it, might incite violence. Are they actually given a call to action? If they are, then absolutely go after them. But if they're just out there saying, I don't like Muslims because of this, this, and this, nothing you can do about it. Like, go ahead, A.G. Lynch, like, you will not win that case. You absolutely will not win it. I mean, be prosecuted in the court of public opinion. You can't be you shouldn't be prosecuted in a court of law, but that's not far down the road. I think we're heading there, and I think we're heading there really, really fast. And it's unfortunate, and people just need to wake up and realize what's happening. So, but yeah, man, we're going on 2 hours now.
Counter says an hour and 46 minutes. What is yours?
Yeah, that sounds about right. We've been up for a minute.
Winding down.
So yeah, man. Actually, I mean, interesting topics tonight, man. It was fun. We drove all the way from terrorism through the conventions and through the First Amendment, and had some fun with that. Through the First Amendment. Whoa! Had some fun. That's not what I wanted to hear.
You still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. I wanted to say, I think we need to. I want to have a dedicated section at the beginning of the podcast where we just go over things that people have posted to our Facebook and Twitter.
Okay.
Like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that, you know? I want to make it more interactive. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have I mean, like I said, Robert went ahead and posted on here. Unfortunately, I think I caught it too late, so I'm sure I got the recording, and you'll be on the video when we repost everything with the graphics and data tables and whatnot. But I do want to thank Robert again for letting us know that he could only hear me. We'll work on that and get that fixed for next time. I just want to thank everybody out there for watching and listening, and we hope you enjoy the show. And I want to thank all the people at 22untilnone.org, for everything they're doing to help drive down the suicide rate. Like I said earlier, they got some upcoming events going. San Antonio, they got a meet and greet. Colorado Springs, they got a Ruck March coming up. Get out there and see what you can do. Donate, volunteer, whatever you can do to help out. I'm sure they would appreciate it. Like I said, they're not sponsoring us. We're not taking any money from them. It's just a shout out to them. I like what they're doing. It means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to other veterans out there. So if you guys if you like what you're hearing, like what you're seeing and reading, check out the webpage at tomatalkpodcast.com. You can also find us on SoundCloud at Tom Talk Podcast. YouTube, we're on there. Twitter, follow us at Tom Talk Podcast. If you're watching on this page, you're already here. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, put us in your RSS feed. And that's pretty much what I got.
Well, thank you guys for listening so much.
Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. Hey, don't get tomahawked out there, all right? Have a good night.
Have a good night.